Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf.
Did you really say hello?
I think I did. Was not on purpose, but I think I did.
Are we British now?
Bloody well can be, mate.
I couldn't even do it. I couldn't pass that off.
I couldn't live under their monarchy.
No.
There's no way I could live under their rule. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, who are you?
I'm me.
You're me.
Everybody knows who the hell I am.
And this is CD Spivey, and welcome to Censored Freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have everybody here this week. We've got one hell of a show for you guys today. Got a great show.
Yeah. I'm wearing one of their T-shirts today. You know.
Oh, is that one of the twin shirts?
Yeah, it is.
What does your shirt say this time? For the audience that can't read the whole thing.
I wanted to be a liberal for Halloween, but I couldn't get my head that far up my ass.
That tracks. That 100% tracks. So in our opening, you know that line by Kamala, being burdened by what has been? Do you know where that comes from? I found out this week where that comes from.
I thought it had a racial undertone to it, and that's why I kind of ignored it, because she's not black anyway. So
it's not racial.
Really?
Oh, no, it's our favorite. It's Marxian. Comes straight out of Karl Marx's mouth.
Oh, really? Okay, I'd have to, go back and listen to, torture myself with some of the stuff that Marx had to say.
Well, I say mouth writings. Let me rephrase. It come out of Marx either way. It's a Marxist thing, being burdened by what has been. So another Marxist Kamala connection there, as if we needed any more.
She was trained by the best of them.
I tell you what, and they've really upped the stakes here lately. When I said it was going to get crazy, ladies and gentlemen, even I couldn't have expected what we've seen in the last week or so. Our hearts and minds and thoughts go out to those affected by this terrible, terrible event that occurred.
Both of these hurricanes now. I mean, you got the one that just crossed Florida last night. And supposedly it did a bunch of damage, too. I mean, it was hauling ass across Florida. So, I mean, it flooded quite a bit. And, I stayed up late last night, watched some of Reed Timmer's footage.
Right.
He was actually in Florida in a vehicle watching the storm surge come in, so got a little bit more balls than me.
I wouldn't live in
I'd stay my ass up here in Tennessee.
No, we ain't exactly safe either, because I used to say I wouldn't live in a state where I had to rebuild my house every year. But this year it hit Tennessee too, Bubba. We ain't safe.
Tornadoes.
The hurricane come through. They hit North Carolina and the edge of Tennessee over there in the Appalachians.
Mm-hmm. What is it? Well, highway, was that 26, 40? It took out 40. I-40 going through the gorge is destroyed.
Really?
Yeah. So east of Knoxville, I-40 takes a hard right and goes south.
Right.
And it zigzags through this gorge.
Right.
Well, that gorge, basically, the river in that gorge flooded, and it wiped out part of I-40. The southbound lanes are gone.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it washed out the whole roadbed, and it fell in.
Speaking of washing, there's been a lot of craziness going on after this hurricane has occurred. Craziness that is downright absurd, in my opinion, if not criminal. Like the rotor washing incident. What happened with this, Bubba?
There was 2 rotor washing incidents.
Really?
Where a National Guard Black Hawk basically acted like he was going to land, come down, hovers over the tents of a civilian aid station.
Right.
And basically just move the tents around, hurt somebody, damaged some vehicles.
Holy cow!
It picked up some of the awnings that they had out. There's nothing holding these things down, man. But it picked them up, threw them all over the place.
Not to count the random stuff from the houses and whatnot has been destroyed around them.
Well, I mean, rotor wash is strong, but it's not that strong. I mean, yeah, papers, effects, small little things. It's going to blow
hurts you
stuff
the worst.
around.
A bullet ain't exactly a big object.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been in rotor wash before in sand, and it sucks bad enough. But yeah, basically what happened was really vindictive. These shitbag soldiers with the National Guard did this stuff, and they did get grounded for it.
Even though they punished the low rank, do you think this came from a higher up rank than the ground crew?
If it did, it's a bad order, and a lot of those pilots are officers, or they are
they're above the basically
they're higher
enlistment.
ranking,
right?
Yeah, they're not NCOs. They are
Gotcha.
officers. They're either officers or warrant officers,
Right.
and they know better.
So this was most evidently a purposeful incident.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious what they did. I mean, he comes down, squats for a second, hovers, and then rips that freaking collector up and basically wipes out their tents.
Now, there was another incident. This may have been the one you're talking about, or may have been a second one with Bear Independent. Is that right?
Well, no, Bear Independent did something. No, he didn't have any rotor wash incidences that I know of. What he was dealing with was going behind FEMA's back, because FEMA basically is trying to push the civilians out. And not only that, now there's a lot of National Guard and permanent party military on the ground now helping out. But it took
2
it
weeks.
took how long? Yeah,
3 weeks,
it took how
something like
long?
that?
There's a lot of people dead, and not only that, there was also something shared that there are people without hope that were self-selecting out of the gene pool because they have lost their will to live because everything is gone.
I mean, you can't, and not that I agree with it, but you can't really blame them considering what they've been through, and the government's doing everything they can to just hurt them even more.
Yeah, and just the delay alone in government assistance and rescue did a lot of that people are committing suicide.
And because it's mentioned everywhere else, we won't mention the fact that FEMA sent, billions and billions overseas and not helping our people. We won't mention that.
$157 million to Lebanon, as we've got it in our bottom ticker. Did we send that money down to Lebanon to arm Hezbollah,
I believe we did, but we're not going to mention that, though. Everybody else talk about it. We won't mention that part about it.
Yeah.
But what we will mention is the $750 aid loan that's not even being given out.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are being denied right now, and they're, what they'll do is that then they get on social media because they don't have any other outlet right now to freak out to.
Yep.
Because you don't bitch to the federal government because it's like screaming at a wall.
Yeah, I was about to say, you might as well bitch at a wall. You'll probably have more luck at that point.
The lowly peasants don't get their word.
Now, how dare you have a say if you don't have money? You're a peasant. Get back in your place.
Yeah, really.
Shut up and sit down.
FEMA has now updated on their website to reflect that payment is not a loan.
Really?
And is not going to be is not to be paid back. It's just $750, smack in the face.
Gotcha.
It's a
That
kick
makes
in
sense.
the teeth is what it is.
That's basically what it is. But, at least they won't make them pay it back, because that's a good way to come in and say, oh, you didn't have a chance to pay it back? We're going to just
Kind of like the COVID money.
Kind of like the COVID money.
It's like, yeah, we want that back now.
Or instead of taking the money, take your land or whatever you've got possession left.
Or when it comes tax time, all of a sudden, you're expecting this great tax return, and all of a sudden it ain't nothing because you had to pay back a federal.
Yeah, not only is it nothing, you owe the government at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Yeah, that's some kind of dirty crap that I could see our current government
They have
pulling
done.
and have done. That's not even a precedent that hasn't been set already. Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. So, is it also just by chance that the worst hit areas happen to be, right leaning?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on with. There's a lot of people saying that this storm was turned into this area.
Do you think that it could have been?
A few months ago, if you would have said that, I would have told you were full of shit.
You did actually tell me that I was full of shit a couple months ago. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we had a conversation. We went out to, he used to go out to lunch a lot before the show, before his surgery, and we weren't able to really hang out a lot. But before the show, we would go and we'd have a dinner. We were walking out of the dinner place one evening, and I looked up and I seen chemtrails everywhere.
You're smart. I was wrong. You were right.
Yeah, chemtrails.
I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not attractive.
All right. As long as you're willing to admit that.
Exactly. It takes a big man to admit when you're wrong.
Okay, here we go. Chemtrails. Okay, a 30,000 foot freaking jet is not doing what they're saying it's doing.
So why is it not at 30,000?
Because those, it's so far above dew point that those would never become clouds.
Okay, that's fair. So it isn't up where, you're going to be flying along, say, going from New York to L.A. or something.
No, that's, and a lot of times, of course, what that is, you get above dew point, 180,000 pound jet flying across the sky. Mm-hmm. It's frozen up there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So all of the moisture up there is frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when it's disturbed,
when it is disturbed and compressed because of a 180,000 pound jet flying at 500 miles an hour is going to compress that to stay aloft. And that is why.
I would even argue that it goes back to, I know you've seen the videos where they pulled the bottle out of the freezer or the cooler at the convenience store. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it turns to ice instantly. Or when it's disturbed, it turns to ice. Mm-hmm. And I would argue it's the same thing. You've got these ice crystals in the air that now they're being disturbed by that plane pushing through
Yes.
this.
Now,
and you're going to see
I'm not willing to bet that is what is doing it. They have admitted that they are doing it.
Yes.
But they're doing it with prop aircraft down at a few thousand feet.
So up
or
to
a
what,
few
10,000?
feet, maybe 10,000 feet.
At max?
Because you need to create a cumulus cloud. Mm-hmm. Well, a cumulus cloud releases moisture at a low altitude.
Right.
All right, not up there.
No.
You want to create a cumulus cloud. You have to do it from down here.
So, for instance, when we were kids, the old people, or I said the old timers, I should say, would talk about the clouds are low. Mm-hmm. You remember hearing that a lot, I'm sure. The clouds are low.
Yeah, so they're predicting precipitation.
So this is the same thing. Clouds really are lowered to the ground
Yes.
elevation-wise.
Yes. Why?
Because of the heaviness of the
One,
water.
they're heavier, and two, dew point is lower.
Right.
And when dew point gets to that point where it's down here, you get precip.
Gotcha.
And not only that, you need a cloud that has accumulated heat and moisture. Mm-hmm. The two things you need for precipitation in a cumulus cloud is heat and moisture.
So before the show, you showed me a video, and I'd seen personally the video myself before, but for our audience who may not have, this is out of a NASA rocket center, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In Alabama or something?
And then not only that, they're doing in Texas. And then not only that, they're doing it in parts of Louisiana and Texas, where they're cutting loose. They're letting loose of a lot of hydrogen and oxygen, which causes these clouds. But they're also doing it in Colorado to save them from the drought with airplanes at a few thousand feet and spraying to create moisture in the air that wasn't there.
So before we get into the aerial spraying, because there's a whole lot about that we can get into when that's been used, but the machine that we were talking about, I don't want to skip over this and gloss over this. I want people to actually go look for this machine in this video because it's a huge square machine, and they're literally just pumping hydrogen and oxygen into this thing and is making these huge clouds.
And to create, to basically to prevent a drought.
And it's literally pushing these clouds straight out into the air, and you watch it come up and form a rain cloud.
Yeah.
And dude said it would like rain in Mississippi or in a couple hours or something on the video.
Here's another one for you that I just thought of, just came to my mind just now. Nuclear reactors, nuclear power plants. What do they emit?
A lot of moisture, a lot of steam. Specifically,
to cool the reactor,
right?
To keep the reactor cool.
The water that's warming up.
You wonder why they put nuclear reactors right beside rivers. You wonder why they put coal reactors, coal burning right beside rivers.
Which
one to get the coal to the plant,
right, on the barges,
through barges, and two, for the endless amount of water that they need to cool it down.
And we actually know a place near us that has a coal burning plant right on the river.
Yep, right off of Briley Parkway. And then
I was thinking down closer to where we grew up. I didn't know there's one up here.
Yep. Oh yeah, Cumberland City. You got Cumberland City. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not only that, you have up there in where is that? Rockport, Indiana. Right there at Rockport, Indiana at Highway 231, there's a big one there, and that thing is always spraying water up. What's it doing? It's making a freaking cloud.
And I know there's a TV
and I'll
down
tell you
toward
what,
Johnson,
that
too.
bad boy freaking rains.
Dude. So, again, we know this is very basic science that's going on. And they are cloud seeding. They've admitted to cloud seeding. They've admitted to weather manipulation. We know they're manipulating the weather at this point. And if they have a way to manipulate it in their favor, aren't they going to? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think they would. And, it can be criminal. Is this... I'm just going to ask the question. I'm not going to say, this is what they did. No, I'm going to completely ask the question.
Okay.
Is this what they did to destroy Appalachia?
I think that's a valid question. I will actually submit a bit of evidence to suggest that that's exactly what happened. Now, you were talking about the aerial seeding. We know that has actually been used in war, in Vietnam, right?
Yep. They used it in Vietnam.
In the 20s, it was used in the West a lot for droughted areas. They would literally cloud seed. Silver iodide, I believe, is what they were using at the time. Recently, we've seen videos come out of Saudi Arabia where the desert was turned into quicksand, right? Just a river of sand with water underneath it because they were using these cloud seeding techniques.
Euphrates River.
Right, and they admitted that this is what happened. Like, they didn't even hide it. Yeah, we did too much. We're sorry.
Yeah.
So, in 1958, interestingly enough, there was another hurricane.
You give these Middle Easterners a toy, they're going to fuck with it.
Oh, you know they are. They're like children. I mean, look at their religion. Anyway, yeah, I couldn't help it. Hurricane Helene in 1958, ladies and gentlemen, not the one we had just a couple weeks ago. Same name, same everything, same path. And here's what I mean by same path. The way they were able to achieve this path in 1958, Bubba, you might find this really interesting. It crossed over Florida like it normally does. As it headed on out into the Atlantic.
It took a hard right, or took a hard left.
Why did it take a hard left? Do you know?
No, I no idea.
The Air Force dropped dry ice right in the middle of it to see what would happen. They literally manipulated it to make it go the exact same path that it took this time.
You know what I would like for that to do you know where this storm is right now? The other storm.
Milton.
Do you know where it's at right now? It's off the coast. It's going northbound, and it's almost parallel to Washington, D.C. Man, wouldn't it be awesome if that bad boy took a hard left turn?
It would not upset me. I would not I'm just saying, if it flooded the rats out of D.C., I would not be upset.
Motherfuckers, swim.
The good rats, the bad rats, all the rats. If the floods out the rats, I'm happy.
Democrats.
The Democrats.
Some of the Republican rats.
But I think it's amazing just to point out that, as you said, 6 months ago, I don't even think it was a year ago, about 6 months ago, we had this conversation, and you said, no, I would have never believed it.
Yeah.
Now, you even as a person who...
A man of honor knows when he's wrong.
And this goes to show how true this is, ladies and gentlemen. They are literally manipulating the weather against us. Now, the question is, and I didn't even bring this up pre-show, so this is again off the top. Is it our government?
Is it? Could it be?
Could it be?
Or could it be any other? Honestly, could it be any other government? Could it be the World Economic Forum?
We know China hosted the Olympics, a decade or so ago, the last time they hosted it. And they asked one of the guys, said, well, aren't you worried about the weather if it's going to rain during certain events? He said, oh, don't worry about that. We control that.
Holy shit.
This is back a decade or two ago, ladies and gentlemen.
Holy shit.
But when we said that this clip existed, we're conspiracy theorists. We're crazy. But it comes out of his mouth, no worries. So
could you imagine if your government controlled your weather? Basically, your food relies on them.
Could China flood out certain areas in order lithium mines,
drought others,
and it just happens to be a large amount of lithium where this happened?
I mean, remember, Wyoming, half of Wyoming is on fire right now, and they desperately need as much water as they can get.
Now, how interesting. We got one area with too much water and one area that can't get water too.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they're weakening every area of the country with weather.
Hey.
Now, it begs the question, is it our dirty government, which I don't put it past, or is it a government that wants to see us hurt, that wants to invade us, that wants to weaken the country as much as possible? China, Russia, WEF, take your choice.
The World Economic Forum wants us bad. So does China.
China needs to be careful, though, and they know that because they want the farmland.
Yeah.
They need the land to feed their people, so they got to be careful what they do. They can't just be nuking us. That destroys the farmland, right? That's why we know China will not be the ones to nuke us, because they need our land.
Yeah, they need the land. But I'm afraid of the World Economic Forum controlling this kind of thing.
Yes.
And completely just drowning us into a famine.
If they're the ones behind the controls, we're screwed.
Hey, didn't we just have an episode about all of that? Last episode.
It's almost like the dots are starting to come together. And then you got people in our government that are trying to cover up everything they can, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on from the weather wars, the only thing I would say about the weather wars is they're happening right out in the open. They're happening, and everybody can see it now.
Yep. Pretty doggone evil and vicious, man.
We've also been able to see over the last 6 months or so that the CIA, Secret Service, whichever you'd like to call them,
not our friends,
have been trying to take out a political candidate. Yes, I will straight say that. It is my belief the CIA is behind all of that. And now they have to stay relevant. FBI, CIA, name the alphabet agency. No such agency, NSA. ATF, FBI, DEA, DTF, DGB, FLZ, QF. They might be in with the LGMZXYQDVs too. DOD. But anyway, they're trying to stay relevant. And so the CIA they've done their job, Bubba. The CIA has foiled a plot, an ISIS-style plot to interrupt the election.
Bruh.
They've done their job. The CIA is relevant. We need them.
The problem is the guy that they say was going to attack us, along with a juvenile that is unnamed, is it was a CIA guard.
Really? for what, Afghanistan, or wasn't that overseas where he actually worked with them?
Yes, he was overseas. He was a CIA asset overseas, and now he comes to America, and is now. I think he was honeypotted into a plot to commit a election day
Event
massacre
of some type.
and they thwarted it to look like heroes, and
I wouldn't even argue that. I would argue that they didn't even have anything on him at all. They just accused him, threw him in jail, and said, "You're going to cop to this or else."
it is their MO.
It is their MO. I don't think he was behind anything. He probably didn't even have plans.
I mean,
In my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he did. Maybe the guy was a piece of shit and really wanted to destroy the country. I don't know. But when the CIA's involved, I have a real problem believing it's organic.
yeah, I mean, it's either that or he ends up on his back getting a forced baptism under a towel, which, I mean, heck, he's going to cop to it anyway.
Right. So, I mean, did the CIA really do their job, or did they just turn one of their informants into a criminal?
Pretty much, that's what it looks like they did. Is they had to throw somebody in the trash can, and it was like, this is how we do it, you know.
So, in your opinion, this is strictly your opinion. After knowing, you know about Operation Northwoods, right?
I've done forgot about that.
Okay, so this was a false flag attack. They wanted to kill Americans and blame it on Cuba.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So JFK shut that down. The CIA's the one to come up with this. They're the one that presented it to him. He's the one that said the CIA needs to be cut into a billion pieces and scattered to the wind.
Yeah.
So now, in the modern time, I told you that to tell you this, remind you that to tell you this. We have Trump about to come in.
Yeah.
Trump knows. Trump knows everything. Trump knows how dirty they are. They're bad. Trump knows. We know how bad they are. We got them all. He actually uses that line. We got them all, but got to catch them all. Anyway, do you think the CIA should be nervous or making themselves try to be relevant now? Do you think they're in danger of being shut down by Trump?
You're fired. All of you are fired. You're terrible people. You're awful people. You just need to go away.
Go.
You're fired.
Fuck yourself.
Thank you, Elon Musk.
Yes, I agree. I think that's exactly what's happening. And we're going to see more and more where the CIA and these alphabet agencies, probably the FBI, they need a lot of cleanup work. So we'll be hearing more about how they're heroes, the great stuff they're doing. They're going to thwart all kind of stuff now. They're actually going to look like they've been doing a great job.
They're going to have to basically create a lot of burn bags right now. And why not kill two birds with one stone, look like a hero, and go ahead and dump a bunch of assets
100%.
right before Trump comes in?
That way they can say, "Oh no, wasn't us." Plausible deniability. You can't prove nothing. Wasn't us.
Honestly, I think they need to take Mayorkas and Blinken and turn them. First of all, tell them next week I need you to fill out a zero budget, and then when they turn that budget in person, they just need to go ahead and turn them around and put them in cuffs.
And what's that other? What's the FBI? Ray, Christopher Wray.
Oh yeah, Ray.
They need to get Ray too. Do the same damn thing.
Damn straight. Zero budget. When he turns it in person, put him in handcuffs.
Unless he can prove he's some kind of sleeper on our side, which he's not giving me a lot of confidence in at this
he's a piece
point.
of shit.
Yeah, I don't.
Piece of shit.
I don't trust Ray far as I can see him. He's got
They're
too
all
many
corrupt, man.
operations.
They are all corrupt.
So next time and I've seen a couple stories last week. Next time I read a story where one of these alphabet agencies has, saved a plot or saved the country or did something good, question the hell out of the validity of this. Who was it? In this article, we find out, reading the article, that it's actually somebody that worked for the CIA.
No, I had to search through 4 different articles to find all that. It wasn't just one article.
And it wasn't in the headline, right?
And no. And the thing is, you got to dig to find out that he was a CIA asset.
And I think that's a great point. You've got to do your research. You can't just read a headline, especially a headline nowadays.
Yeah, headlines are trash. A lot of times what's buried down below is the meat and taters of the story is not even in the headline.
and is usually opposite of the headline. It contradicts the headline half the time.
Yeah.
At least half the time.
Read.
There's a guy I like named Dan Radio Style, on the fringe of Dan Radio Style. Does great work, does every show every day, really great Patriot news. I love watching his work. That's the only reason I'm giving him a shout out here. But bless his heart, there's times that he'll put the article on screen behind him, and he'll go by the headline. And you can tell he's going by the headline because you can read the words behind him contradicting what he's saying. He's misunderstood. And it doesn't happen every time. Bless his heart, he puts a show together every single day. Like, I get it. But this is a person that needs to do a little bit more deep research. You can tell he's not doing the deep dive research like we are.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I actually was turned on to this CIA story through Redacted, but Redacted went this deep too with it. But I was like, hold on a second. I had to go back and actually look, and there's some articles that they didn't even go through, and I was like, oh, let me go through those first. And once I found out, oh wow, he was a CIA asset. There it is. Like, holy shit.
Wow.
He was a CIA guard.
And that was actually reported by NBC, correct?
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
Yep.
One of the dirty nerds.
It's like, oops, we didn't mean, it was on a back page.
Well, of course they didn't
it's not
put it
going to
in
be
the
on
headline.
the front freaking page, dude. You got to search for that shit.
But shout out to NBC, be the only one to tell a semi bit of truth anyway. But what would you take
Yeah, but
away
were they patting themselves on the back? Were they trying to? It
Yes.
looked to me like in the article it looked to me like they were trying to pat the CIA and the FBI on the back.
Now that's truth. They're trying to build them up.
But at the same time, they fucked up and let loose that the guy was a CIA asset.
Well, they had to. It's going to come out eventually.
Oops. Congratulations, dipshits.
Just goes to show why honest reporting isn't needed in journalism today.
Good
Or is
job,
it
guys.
used?
You screwed yourselves.
Is needed, isn't used, right?
You're fake news. You're fake news. Bye. You're fake news.
Fake news, can't tell the truth, don't know what the truth is. Fake news.
Smith Munt Act. We need it back.
Yes. What we have today is called the Smith-Munt Modernization Act, and they've modernized it to propagandize it.
Yeah, modernized.
So make sure if you trust somebody's information, if you listen to anybody, do not trust them. Don't trust Chris.
Don't trust me. I'm an asshole.
Don't trust me. I've done the research, but don't trust me. Prove me wrong. Prove him wrong. Prove anything
Hey,
you hear wrong.
One thing you need to understand too, what side is telling you to do your own research and what side is telling you not to?
Truth. What side's saying fall in line? What side's saying find out for yourself? That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And it's just like the attitudes of each side. If I myself were to be a MAGA hat, Trump 24, full gear, and walk into a leftist...
I would never wear that shit.
I didn't say I do. I said if I would. I don't know. I might wear a MAGA hat. I don't have one, but I would wear one.
I've got one, but I never wear it.
I would wear it.
And I think I got it for free.
If I had one, I would definitely wear it. But I don't have one. I'll be honest. But if I went to a leftist celebration wearing full gear, what's going to happen to me, Bubba?
You better know how to fight.
I'll be lucky
Or
to
at least a
walk out
little bit.
alive. I'm going to be called every name but human.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be called white. I was going to say every name but white. I'll be called white. That'll be a bad thing to them.
You fascist white supreme pizza.
That's the one thing I will be called, right? So I'll be just torn apart if I go into one of their celebrations.
Nazi.
Now, what would happen, and I'm not saying off the cuff, we've got evidence of this, so we're not
Yeah.
just speaking, that we've seen this on video. So what would happen if a Kamala-loving, full LGB, proud B Democrat person come over to our side and just hung out with at one of our celebrations?
Like at a Trump rally?
Like at a Trump
We have video of this where they got free barbecue and sat down and started talking about the issues.
Yep.
And turns out that what side they were talking about was not the side that they thought. It's like, these guys are a bunch of Nazis. No. And that's one thing about us is that we have principles.
Yes, and morals and respect. We just want to live a simple life and be left the fuck alone. Yeah, I said it. It's something when I used the F-bomb.
You know what's really messed up is in Ashland City today, on my way to visit a friend and do a favor for a friend. There's a big billboard in Ashland City, Tennessee.
Right.
That says vote Democrat.
Thank God it's such a small town. I mean, what?
Huge. Well, that town's blowing up right now.
Is it really?
Apartment complexes are going up everywhere.
Really? Because growing up, that thing you and I both know wasn't bigger than nothing. It was a blip on the map.
It was 1,000, 1,200 people.
Right. Tops.
Now it's 15,000, 20,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Ashland City has blown up.
Is the overflow from Seaville?
Clarksville, Nashville, and you're seeing enemy license plates from California and New York and New Jersey.
I have no problem with those folks moving here. Come on down, enjoy our way of life. Just do not California our Tennessee. That's the only problem I have. You come here to escape it.
Didn't
don't
I
make
just
it.
tell you that I saw a billboard that says "Vote Democrat"? Is that something you would have seen in 1994?
In that area, especially, hell no. Hell no. Now, is it their right and is it normal to have such a sign? Yeah.
Is it their right? Yeah. I mean, they paid for that billboard.
Yeah. But it's not a billboard that
somebody
normally...
Somebody paid $1,500 to $1,800 to have that billboard put up. On the billboard that was already there, they paid about $1,500 to $1,800 to have that billboard put up.
To be fair, we are a Republican supermajority, so I mean, apparently they aren't welcome.
Laughable.
They need to do something
somebody
wrong.
Didn't read the freaking room.
So yeah, I you know what? Credit for putting up a fight on their side. Credit for fighting. If you're in the middle of the war zone, if you're in the middle of the battle, everybody around you is totally opposite of you, and you're still fighting. I don't agree with your cause.
Part of me at 2 a.m. wants to get a ladder and paint communist across it. But
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong.
I've got my principles. I've got my morals. And honestly, at 2 a.m., I am snoring. So honestly, screw that shit.
I think that's another, that might be a big key between the two sides. We actually think about the same things they do. We think about it and go, yeah, no. We have impulse control. They do not.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big differences. We don't go out and burn our city.
Kind of like the video on YouTube of that kid charging, little face mask, scrawny dude, charging some guy that was on the other side. It was like one side of the street was Biden supporters, and they were all masked up and face diapers, and they were screaming at the other side. The other side was Trump supporters, and all of a sudden this kid charges like he's gonna fight. That was like a poodle chasing a parked car.
And that's another thing. We're so dangerous. The Republicans are dangerous. The gun-loving Republicans are so dangerous.
We are.
They're the ones that have done the mass shootings of the last at least 7. Yeah. They're the ones that were doing the riots of Summer of No Love.
I didn't say we weren't peaceful. I said we were dangerous.
I'm talking about them.
No, we're dangerous. But
we're peaceful.
But we're peaceful.
So and that's a great example. So here's how J6 was a setup and was not done by Republicans. I'll give you 2 sentences. Tell me if these 2 sentences make sense together. Mm-hmm. Republicans love their guns, refuse to give them up, and stockpile them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Okay.
We do.
Republicans took over the Capitol on January 6th without a single firearm in hand.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
That makes 0 sense whatsoever. So all of these gun-loving, gun-toting Republicans all decided at the same time to leave their guns behind and take over the Capitol. That doesn't track for me.
I went to a courthouse today. Did I bring a gun?
Hell no.
I did love the judge was an awesome dude though. I did like that judge. He's really super cool dude. Dixon County judge. He was awesome. My friend had to go to court for a situation he was in.
Bad dude.
Actually, great dude. I deployed with him overseas, but great dude. He watches this, so I love you, man.
Shout out. You ain't so bad after all if you watch us.
No.
Probably standing up for his rights, damn it.
No, that's what he was doing, standing up for his rights.
Yeah, now that I'll buy. That I'll buy all day.
Squared away guy. So, yeah, I ended up spending about an hour and a half in a courtroom. So, the judge was cool. All the bailiffs were cool. I mean, everybody was super cool. If you're a leftist, you'd walk into that courtroom and you'd think the complete opposite. But
Well, truth be told, as much as I agree with law enforcement,
Nazis.
as much as I agree with law enforcement, and you ain't wrong, and things like that, those guys are more scared of a camera than they are a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully.
Yeah.
Walk into that courthouse with a camera and see if you don't get friggin' tackled.
Get him up.
Tackled and dogpiled.
You're not
for
allowed
it.
to carry your phone in there anyway.
Into a courtroom, not the courthouse. As taxpayer citizen, we pay if that's our building. We can carry a phone in there. We not into the courtroom. That's fair.
Yeah, you can't carry
That's
a phone
fair.
in the courtroom.
I totally get in the courtroom. That's 100% fair. But in the courthouse, that's public.
Yep.
That's our right. But exercise your right and do that.
Respect the court. Maintain your morals, and
I've not done it here in Tennessee.
You'll stay a free citizen.
I'm pretty sure Tennessee's a little better. They may have trained the people here a little better about your rights and whatnot. I've not seen a lot of stuff ever come out of Tennessee. But with that said, most people around the country, walk into your local courthouse with a gun, not armed, not aiming, and see what happens. Then walk in with a camera and see how much more they freak the fuck out. It is hilarious.
I don't know. Either way, you're getting your ass kicked.
That they're more scared of a camera. That is friggin' hilarious, but it's true. You ain't wrong. You gonna get your ass kicked. That's true. Well, if you turn the weapon in, you won't, right? You can walk in, right, and turn.
No.
Not allowed?
The first thing you do. When's the last time you walked into a courthouse?
I've not had to walk into a courthouse in a long time, and I'm proud of that.
I haven't had to walk into a courthouse in a long time for me, but for other people, I've had to.
I've not had to visit one for anybody in a
can't carry a
long
wallet,
time.
chain. Dude, the first thing you do when you walk into a courthouse, you go straight through a metal detector. First thing you do.
And okay,
And no,
I
you
remember
don't
the metal
turn in your
detectors.
firearm. You leave that bitch in the car.
I wasn't sure about that because I've emptied the pockets into Seville metal detectors. You know, they had them back when I was having to go into that building.
You empty your pocket and you've got a
Yeah.
9mm cartridge in your pocket. They raise an eyebrow, but they don't like. They're like, "Welcome to Tennessee."
Now those guys in there get uppity quick.
Well, the
I
thing
will
is, these
say,
are some.
they get uppity quick.
No, this is Dixon County. These are some good old boys.
Oh, okay. Dixon's a lot different. They good one. I like Erin too. They're very laid back. They're cool. I'm thinking the Seville dickheads. You know,
Oh, this was.
they're assholes up there.
Yeah, this was Charlotte, Tennessee.
You know, that's something I will give credit. And we're running out of time. We actually need to close it out. But that's something I will give credit between Nashville and Clarksville. The cops down here are much cooler, much more laid back.
Oh, the
They don't-
Clarksville. Yeah, Clarksville. The cops are freaking batshit
They're
nuts.
assholes, dude. They're out of their damn minds.
Imagine having to babysit a bunch of freaking crazy ass soldiers all the time.
I mean, I give that in the college kids. Between
Yeah.
the two of them, I could see how they give them a run for their money. But yeah, they're insane. They got some
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
cops in Clarksville. They mess with you.
You ready to go home?
I think I am, bub. I think we've ran our yappers enough today.
All right, y'all take care of yourselves. This has been Censored Freedom.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf.
And you know who I am.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bless y'all. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Hakuna Matata, bitches.